Thank you very much for joining today to our webinar, how to comply with ISO 9001 in a digital world. That is the name of our webinar today. And thank you very much for your time and joining us. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I am the Managing Director of Bimser International. Today, we'll be talking about ISO 9001, and we'll be talking about how to comply with ISO 9001 in a digital environment. So we have a very popular subject. We have a lot of attendees, and thank you again for being with us today. So first of all, I'd like to introduce our presenters today. Well, with me, I have Roger Hoyt. He's the president of IDT, Integrated Data Technologies Company. He's with us today. And also we have Ron Loveland. He is the president of Summit Safety and Efficiency. He is also with us today. He'll be addressing the fundamentals of ISO 9001, which is very important for all the companies. Also with us today, we have our pre-sales software engineer, Itiar Gonzalez. She is with us today, and she'll take us through the digital part of the ISO 9001 compliance. And also, we have another team member here, Can Cornelius. He is our sales executive at Bimser International. He is also with us today, and he'll be also helping us addressing any questions that may be coming up. So this is a live webinar, so feel free to ask any of your questions during the presentation. Just a quick note, any questions that you may have, please use the chat box and type your questions in the chat box, and please address who you are asking your question. Could be me, could be Roger, could be Ron, Itiar, John. Please write with this attention to, and please type the question, so that at the end of the presentation, during the question and answer Q&A session, we can address your questions one by one. So having said that, I think we can get started. Let's start with quick introductions. I'd like to introduce our company, Bimser International. Our company is an enterprise software development company. As a company, we believe in simplicity. All of our products and our mission is to simplify processes of companies, enterprise. And our vision is to be the leader in enterprise software marketplace. That's our vision. As a company, we are actually a global company. Our parent company, an enterprise software development center based in Istanbul metro area. Also, we have presence in Europe, in the Netherlands for our European sales operations. As Bimser International, our team located in New York metro area, and that is where we actually service our market. As a company, we have been developing software, enterprise software products since 1998, and we are about 140 people, colleagues that we are working day and night to deliver our products to companies and enterprises. We are a certified SAP vendor. We are a Microsoft Gold partner. Also, we need to mention that we are an Acumatica independent software vendor, and that is Bimser International in a sense. Let me give you some information about our product range. We have been developing since 1998 these four products. EBA. EBA is our workflow and document management platform. It helps companies manage their processes in a digital environment. QDMS, that we'll talk more about today, is our quality and compliance, quality management and compliance software that we'll talk more about in a minute. BIM is our asset management and maintenance management software. It helps companies manage their assets, maintenance operations, inventories, purchasing operations, and energy consumption management. Finally, Ensemble is our process management and KPI management software. And it helps companies also manage their budget operations as well. Let us give you a positioning information about our products. This is how we position our products in general. Ensemble is more of a managerial tool with its strategy management and performance management capability. EBA on the document management and workflow management part of it, BIM for the maintenance and asset management, QDMS for quality management and quality compliance. They are more on the process automation side of it. All of our products, they can work standalone, independently. Also, they can be integrated to each other. In addition, we can integrate our products to any ERP, any CRM product that's available in the marketplace. Also, we have state-of-the-art technology. All of our products, they can work in cloud environment, also on-premise as well. What we have done so far is also on the screen at the moment. These are the projects, number of the projects that we have delivered. So as for EBA, we have delivered more than 450 projects globally. As for BIM, we have delivered more than 300 projects. QDMS, more than 750 projects. And as for Ensemble, we have delivered more than 150 projects and still counting at this very moment. Just to give you some ideas about who our customers are in general, in a global sense, 3M is one of our customers using EBA in 17 different countries. United Nations, as we all know, is also one of our references, managing refugee tracking and documentation. Bridgestone is one of our references as well, using EBA in their operations, especially for administrative operations. AstraZeneca in a pharmaceutical marketplace is one of our references, using EBA for clinic visits, doctor visits, and sample tracking. Societe Generale also used EBA for loan automation purposes. ArcLight Cinemas is a movie theater chain in California with about 1,000 employees. They are using EBA in association with SAP to manage their purchase order operations. Ford and Renault-Nissan Alliance, also one of our references. So these are our enterprise references available. We are also very excited about and helping and serving the market as well. Small and mid-sized companies are also some of our customers. The reason being, all of our products are very scalable and flexible, so we can easily adapt them to mid-market as well. So I think this is pretty much it from the Bimser International side in a nutshell. I'd like to turn it into Roger Hoy, the president of Integrated Data Technology Company based in New York, for a quick and brief introduction of his company. Roger, would you like to take it from here?
Thank you, Kevin. Sure. Good morning, everyone. As Kevin said, my name is Roger Hoyt. I'm the president of Integrated Data Technology, and we are an ERP CRM integration company. Our main focus here is to provide meaningful solutions to companies of all sizes. We were founded back in 1988, so we've been in business about 30 years now. And as you can see, our core competencies are ERP consulting, implementation, integration, and support services. Now, a bit about us, just to tell you who our strategic partners are. At the top, Bimser for quality management and asset management systems. We are a certified Acumatica partner. Avalara, which is tax management and compliance partner. Sage Software, we are certified Sage implementers and consultants. They are ERP, just like Acumatica. And then AccuDart for warehouse management systems. We also have another product that calls Aptora, that is for service management. Anybody in the service management business, such that deals with fleets, such as plumbing companies, electrical engineering companies, and so forth. Okay, today I'd like to say that we are very happy to be a part of this presentation. As you know, ISO is now the standard that most companies, whether they're manufacturing, wholesale distribution, pharmaceuticals, or whatever, quality management and ISO standard is almost a requirement. Some of our customers, notable customers in the various areas that I mentioned would be Adesso. They are a big lighting and furniture company, basically in the category of wholesale and distribution. Then we have Minco Resources, which are into semi-precious metals. Earthbound, another big company there. They are in the brand management. So again, ISO is important to them because it's always about the constant improvement. Berkeley Noise, they're investment bankers. Then we have Midnight Snacks and Hampton Popcorn. They are in the food services business. So ISO, SQF, and those type of certifications are important. Bronson Labs are pharmaceuticals. So there again, another requirement in the industry that they serve. With that, I think we'll go to Summit and Ron.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you very much for the brief introduction. From here, I think it's time for Ron Loveland to take it over for the introduction. So we need to learn about general and why we need to go ISO in a fundamental sense. So Ron Loveland is the president of Summit Safety and Efficiency Solutions, and I'd like to turn it to him. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Prasad. Thanks for inviting me along to be part of your webinar today. I'd like to talk a little bit about ISO for those who may or may not be familiar with what the program's all about. As an introduction, I'd like to just tell you a bit about who we are. I run a safety, quality, and industrial engineering firm that works with manufacturers throughout the New York area to help them to get their costs down. As you know, in the New York area in particular, and probably in other areas in the States and around the nation, the cost of labor, the cost of energy, the cost of buildings, it's just a tough place to do business, especially against some of the lower cost areas overseas. So help them to thrive by helping them with improving safety, importantly keeping their workers safe and they're safe, keeping their workers' comp costs down, keep their liability insurance down, as well as avoid lost time during the operations. On the quality side, we have quality representatives to help with their operations, and finally the efficiency side, we help in areas such as Lean Six Sigma, inventory management, warehouse management. We do specialty things like solder certification, food safety, production planning, and we also offer help with offsetting some of the cost of our services by tying our customers into R&D tax credits and grant programs. So let's talk a little bit about quality. Quality really refers to the characteristics of a product that speaks directly to the voice of the customer. Just like when we're setting up a lean program on the quality side as well, you have to focus on what is it the customer wants and needs. We also look at the environment that people are operating in for products. I just had a conversation yesterday with a biotech company that said, in the past we've just had a quality management system where we had a plaque on the wall. We didn't care about exactly what the system was, but we really want to build that quality culture, and that's important to make sure that you improve that culture and include everybody in the process. And finally, you also want to be improving, right? It's about continual improvement, continually improving your processes as well as your products. So as quality management, we look at quality management system. We're not just talking about inspection or the quality assurance department. We're really talking about a quality management program, so that you hear stories in the news about big companies such as Boeing and Tesla, with and some of the cell phone companies where the batteries are blowing up and causing fires. I want to make sure that quality is pressed down into the supply chain and that you know, the improvement, you have a system in place to assure the original equipment manufacturers that they're going to get good product from their supply chain. Other things that quality system management programs allow you to do is enables best practice, right? You do the corrective action, preventative action to make sure you don't repeat past mistakes, and you're constantly improving your products. We also use the quality management system, things like ISO, to make sure that we have a good quality process in place, that calibration is done correctly, that the procedures are tuned up well. And then finally, you're looking at consistency, eliminates variation in your process, and sustainability in your process. And again, you're looking for a continuous improvement in your process. So let's talk a little bit about what's ISO. What is this thing all about? The ISO refers to a system of quality standards that have been created by the International Organization for Standardization. This is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, and there's 160 nations participate in this this organization to develop these standards. They all get together routinely to make sure that the standards are up to date with the latest regulations and processes. And one of the things that most companies will recognize is ISO 9000, which is the standard for quality management. So what's ISO all about? Basically, in a nutshell, it's say what you do and do what you say, right? You have to have a system in place, so you can't just take something downloaded from the internet, put your name on it, and say, okay, now I have an ISO program. It really has to be customized to your operation, has to describe your operation, and really helps you to create best practices by the plan, do, check, act approach. You're looking for continuous improvement. You also, as a quality management system, have to prove that you have a system, right? You're going to be audited. To be able to get registered, you need to have an outside agency to come in to register you, and you need to have documentation to show that you're producing a good product, that your quality management system is actually working, and then getting the results from the quality system. You're looking at, you know, returns, you're looking at the cost of quality in your operation, and making sure that the quality system that you described and created actually helps you to make a good quality product. So the ISO 9001 family focused on quality management. It looks at, first off, what are the customer requirements, all right? When you're producing a product, you have to make sure that you're meeting the target, you're meeting what the customer is looking for. Regulatory requirements, what are the federal and what are the other international requirements require of you to be able to make a good product and conform to those regulatory requirements. You know, we think about food safety as an issue, right? We've seen Chipotle in the news, you know, for not having a good quality system. So the FDA steps in and makes sure that those folks are complying. You have to look at customer satisfaction. And then finally, again, I used to talk about continuous improvement of performance, continually improving your process. So what do you need to get to be ISO 9001, 2015, which, you know, for a lot of my customers in the industrial client base, manufacturer distributors, if they need to be ISO, you know, the latest standard now is going to 2015. What do you need? Right? We need a set of procedures covering your business practices and process. We need a plan for monitoring your processes. You need to have records to demonstrate that you're following your processes and you're creating good process, you're creating good products. You need to have a plan to check for defects and corrective action, preventative action. You need to have a regular review process. Okay, you need to have internal audits as well as external audits. And finally, again, you're looking for continual improvement. ISO, this is what my presentation is all about. You know, why should I bother? Well, we've had a lot of customers that said, hey, you know what, the customer let me off the hook. I don't really have to worry about that. I'm going to go another few years. And guess what? A lot of those customers that said, hey, they bought from me for 30, 40 years. Why would they change? They're no longer in business because they weren't complying with customers' requirements. You know, with the Raytheons and the Grummans and the Lockheed Martins and those companies, if they require it, you got to do it, right? So number one, why go ISO is to retain your current business. Number two is open up new markets. We worked with a small fastener manufacturer that was doing a lot of good business in the medical field, but they wanted to get into aerospace. So we helped them to get ISO, which is really the foundation of your quality management system. And then the next step up for the aerospace is AS9100. We helped to get AS9100, and they got a 30% increase in revenues that year. So good reason to make sure you have to go ISO, to go AS, go 13485 and other quality standards to be able to open up new markets for you to get into new businesses. Improving your operations. Another small manufacturer we worked with said, you know what, I'm going to go through the ISO, but I don't really know if I want to get registered. His response to that is, after working with him for a period of time, he said, you know what, the biggest benefit of going through this ISO process is that I've really improved my operations. You know, I was doing a lot of things on the back of an envelope, shoestring operation, and now this has really required me to get down and really lock up the best practices, get the right forms and procedures in place, and then follow that process. And then finally, why go ISO? Position your company for growth, quality, and success. So I've heard some customers complain and say, nah, I don't want to go ISO because, you know, it's just too much paperwork. It's a pain in the neck. You know, I'm going to have to hire one person that just spends his whole day working on quality, and I really can't afford that in my operation. It's tedious manual work. And really, a lot of companies lose sight of the standard's purpose and look at it as a necessary evil. But, you know, for those who want to be forward-looking, continue to improve, you really need to look at ISO and some of these other quality management systems. So, you know, some of the operations are, you know, with the digital age, we have solutions, and Bimser is going to be talking more about their system to be able to help you. You know, in the past, when things were done manually, you had binders all over the place, you had SOPs everywhere. Oh, it's in the other side, you know, somebody else in a different department has that procedure when you go through an audit. The nice thing about it, having a quality management system in a digital fashion, is you have all your SOPs, procedures, and operations in one place. So you go to one reference, quality management system in one place. It's easy to update your manual system, your systems, and it's easy to audit. You know, as opposed to running around trying to find all the binders and where you put your various publications and practices and procedures. Now you've got it in one place. So you sit down with the auditor. Everything's in a digital system. You can find it, look it up quickly, and find it quickly. And then finally, you know, having it in one place and have it in a digital fashion just lifts the administrative burden of maintaining your system.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you. It's very refreshing. Actually, we have a mix of audience. Some of them are actually very new to ISO standards. Some of them, they have ISO, but they are not compliant ISO in a digital environment. So you covered the subject from different angles. So that's been really, really helpful for us. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. And please stay with us because we're going to have question and answer section, and we may address some questions together. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn to Bimser International's pre-sales software engineer, Itiar Gonzalez. She's an expert in QDMS, and she'll be actually showing us how we can comply with ISO 9000 environment. Ron covered the fundamentals and why it is so important to be actually very helpful to be to comply ISO in a digital environment. So let's see in practicality how we can do it and what steps that we can take. From here, I like to turn it to ETR. ETR, please continue. Thank you.
Unmuted.
Thank you, Kevin. So we've come to the last section of this webinar where I will talk about QDMS, which is a product that helps companies comply with ISO standards and other standards. So basically, just to recap, to comply with ISO, you need to say what you're going to say, what you're going to do. Then you have to do what you said you were going to do. And finally, you have to be able to prove it. And QDMS is the perfect platform for this. So you'll see in a little bit that QDMS includes many different modules and that they may work together or independently. And that is a significant advantage because companies only have to pay for what they need at the moment. Maybe you want to start using QDMS with just 2 modules, and then in a few months, when you're ready, you can add another 2. QDMS is a product that's flexible and scalable. Flexible as in it helps companies comply with any standard, whether it's ISO, BRC, SQF, and scalable as in it grows with the company. Today, you may have 100 users and tomorrow 1,000 users. QDMS is extremely easy to use. After this presentation, I will log into the demo environment and show you how it works. And so you'll see that QDMS is indeed very easy to use. And it is also easy to deploy. So once the companies have their procedures defined, they can get started in as little as 1 week. And as we all know, the less time we spend on during the implementation, the less money we have to spend on a product. And with QDMS, companies, not only will they be able to track everything they do in terms of quality, but they will also be creating a paperless corporate memory accessible anywhere. So you can log into QDMS from a computer, a tablet, or you can use our mobile application available for Android and iOS. Let's take a look at some of the modules available on QDMS. So QTMS was built as a quality document management system with workflow capabilities, and that's the module you see on the top left. However, the functionality of QTMS has widened over time, giving way to all these modules you see on the slide. So no matter the module we're working with, every task, activity, or process is going to be monitored in the system. And thanks to that, we can create reports from the information that we stored on a database. So with the document management module, users can upload documents which can later be reviewed, distributed, and approved. The next module helps companies manage customer complaints. So these complaints can be both internal and external, which means that it's possible to get the feedback from employees, but also from customers or suppliers. Then the next module is for corrective and preventive actions. And with it, companies can identify non-conformities and opportunities for improvement, and they can develop a plan to take care of them. With the audit management module, companies can create audit plans and send, for example, an employee to perform an internal audit. The action management module helps companies keep track of tasks, meetings, projects. We can assign actions to the users of the system and make sure they complete them within a certain time frame. The next module is the survey one. We can create a survey within minutes, distribute it, and collect feedback instantly. There is also a module to manage the training the employees have to complete, so we can record information about the sessions, the instructors, the attendees, and we can even issue a certificate once the training is over. And the calibration module allows companies to monitor their assets, like a machine or a device, by creating work orders periodically to make sure they work correctly. And finally, QDMS includes a few modules for risk management, whether it is to measure environmental risk, health or safety risk, or even IT risk. So let me now log into a demo environment and show you how QDMS works. So you see, I've just logged in with a regular user, an end user, and you see that right now we see a dashboard here. These are all the tasks this user has to perform. So there are, a few documents to read, a couple CAPAs here. We have external customer complaints to take care of. Maybe we have to participate in training, fill out one survey. So these are all the tasks that we have to perform. And this is a great way of keeping track of everything we have to do. So just so you know, whenever we are assigned something, it's going to appear here. And we can also receive notifications via email. So we'll always have this to help us manage what we have to do. And so you see here on the top, we have our menu. These are some of the modules available in QDMS, and typically the ones that our customers need to comply with ISO. So let's start with the document management module. Here we can keep a corporate memory. So right now we have customers that are complying with ISO, but they're doing it on a paper basis, and it's just too much for them somehow. And since we have the digital environment now ready, it's just way better for them to start using QDMS as a platform to manage their quality operations. So for example, we can create here our folders, our documents, and it's not just a solution to keep all of our documentation in place. It's also a way of managing everything that goes with creating new documentation. So for example, I have uploaded here a sample document. This is just a document with 4 sections here, and you see that there are a few tabs here on top so to help us manage all of these documents. So for example, the second tab is the document information. So when I uploaded this document, I had to give it a name. We are right now under the revision number 1. I was the person who started these documents. So I'm the document owner. We can see here the department, when it was prepared, when it was updated. And we can see, for example, here that Ambre is the employee responsible for approving this document before it gets published in the system. Then under the next tab, we can see the revision information. So you see that the revision number 0, this was the original document, and now we are in the revision number 1. So what we can do is allow users to go back and forth between revisions. So I could see, that the previous documents, instead of having 4 sections, only had 3 maybe. Then the next tab is for permissions. So right now we see all the user groups or positions that have access to this document. So we can give, permissions to read, print, revise, or, delete the document. Then we can also say who is going to be getting these documents. So again, we can select a list of users or groups of users that will be receiving a notification to read this document. Then we can set the approvals. So right now there is only 1 user who has to approve this document. And basically what we have to do here is define the workflow process. So that runs in the background. We just have to link that process with QDMS, with the document part of QDMS. And we could have, a few employees approving this document. And, once one approves, then it goes to the next person. And then finally, when everyone approves the document, then it's published in the system. There is also a section for comments. We can also keep track of the hard copies of the document. So sometimes we need to print this document, right? And we're going to have to start distributing it, but manually on a paper, right? So we can also keep track of all of those hard copies that we create. We can link this document maybe to some other reference documents. We can upload attachments. We can, maybe if we're reading the document and we think there is something wrong that needs to be modified, we can start a revision request. We can link the document to a product. So in this case, it was a document for a quality management system, for QTMS. We can see here the review list, and then finally the history. So, you see when the document was created, when it was sent, when it was approved, and when it was published in the system. So that's basically all the things that we can do with the documentation here on QDMS. The next module is the external customer complaints. So here what we can do is start uploading, or either manually or integrating with a portal for all of those customer complaints. So in this case, I'm going to show you this first one. This is a complaint that I entered into the system because one of our clients, the company that I called XYZ, had a problem with the technical support. So basically, they contacted us, but we weren't able to get back to them within 24 hours. So they were asking, what's wrong? What's wrong? I need an answer, basically. So whenever I enter a new complaint into the system, I can record what the customer says. I can say, that I got these from a phone call, or maybe this was a complaint that came through the web page, anywhere. I could select maybe the complaint category. So for example, whenever we are configuring the product, we're going to define, for example, the complaint categories. So this is something that we do before we start using QDMS. So, we could have a list of categories here and sub items. And in this case, this is an after sales technical support customer complaint. Then we could select that we want to inform one of our employees here of this problem. And, we could even say, I was the person who took this complaint. I could select the date, here where it came from. If this is like a product and I have the lot number or the order number, I could always put this information here to make it easier to trace back the problem. Then I would select the team who's going to be working on this. We can always do this automatically too. So, if we only have a 2-people team to manage all the customer complaints, then these will be selected automatically here. Then I didn't add any attachments for these customer complaint. And this is basically what I would do up until here whenever I submit a new complaint. And then, the team leader and the other, team member, they will be getting notifications via email and also in their home screen to start working on these complaints. So all of these tabs will become active once we start going through the process. So the first thing to do would be to evaluate what's going on and write a first progress report. So in this case, the customer is correct. It's taking us longer than expected to get back to them. And they have to analyze the root reason for this. So in this case, it's just a very simple example. We can just say that the employee was on vacation and the rest of the team was overwhelmed with work and we weren't able to get back to them. So once we find the root reason, we have to take action. So in this case, there was just one action needed. It was, to study the problem the customer has and respond to them as soon as possible, basically. And once we complete that action, we can create a final report saying the customer is satisfied with the product. And what we could do is, instead of closing this complaint directly now, what we could do is open a follow-up. So, maybe we can monitor that client for the next month or the next few months to make sure that they don't have that problem again. So, in this case, it was just that we weren't able to get back to them. But if we were talking about a damaged product that they're receiving, or, food that has gone bad during transportation to a facility, then we have to follow up this complaint to make sure it doesn't happen again. So that would be an option here before we close this complaint. And of course, we could see, all of the information related to this complaint like this in this last tab. Then the next module will be the CAPAs, corrective and preventive actions. So if you remember during the presentation, I mentioned that our modules can work independently, or they can also work together. So for example, if we have a customer complaint and we see that there is something wrong with a product, like the food was damaged, or the product arrived broken, maybe we can start a CAPA right there and link a customer complaint with a CAPA and the other way around. So for example, I can show you one of the customer complaints, one of the CAPAs created in the system. So in this case, not all the tabs are active. You see, we have the CAPA information. This is a customer dissatisfaction. They received a damaged product. In this case, it was a production unsuitability. And again, we have to inform someone of this problem. Then we could see, the solution team here. Again, a couple people responsible for this CAPA. No attachments. And then we are right now under the first progress report tab, where this is empty. So this is something that Kevin would have to complete. They would have to go through the root causes, and then once they do this, you see all of these tabs will become active, and they will be able to close these CAPA. So sometimes companies use different ways, different systems to analyze those root causes. We can upload everything here in the system, and we can even take a look at the global 8 disciplines here if this is the way you're doing it. So you find the root causes, you can place here your permanent corrective actions, what you implemented, what you're going to do to prevent this action from happening again, and finally these will be closed. Then the next module is for the audits. So what we can do is either use QTMS for internal or external audit purposes. So let me look for one of the examples here. This was an audit plan for 2018. And what we can do is create different audits that belong to this one plan. So in this case, there is just one audit here. We could add more audits here. So, if we have a few of them already created in the system, I could select, for example, this quality internal audit and just add it to this plan, and we'll see that it has a few items here. So for each audit that we add to a plan, we are going to send an employee, but we're not going to send them just like this. We're going to give them a list of questions to answer, to ask the department maybe, and they have to make sure that they are receiving the correct answer. So, for example, we go back to the ISO fundamentals. If you say you're going to do something, but now I ask you, which are the processes needed for this, and I know that you have to answer this and that, like A and B, and you answer C, then we have a problem, and we might have to start a CAPA or an action to take care of that problem. So it's just very easy for the internal auditor to go and perform the audit, and they will see a screen, where they have to enter the answers that the department provides. They can select, maybe they can check different options, and that way we can even start a CAPA from the audit performance screen. Then the action management module is a little bit different. Actions can also be corrections. So, if we have a major unsuitability, then we would have to create a CAPA. But if it's just a minor unsuitability, maybe an action would suffice. And we can also add here actions such as, daily tasks, tasks coming from meetings or from projects. So in this case, we have a plan here for sales meetings. So, what we can do is when we finish a meeting and we have, the meeting minutes, and we have all the things, all the tasks that the users have to perform after that meeting, we can state them here and select a responsible for these tasks. And we can, for example, monitor the time that they have to complete those actions. So it's just a great way of monitoring what the employees are doing. And when we have to submit to another audit to maintain our ISO certification or whatever certification that we're after, we're going to be able to show in the system that everything is registered and we have been keeping track of everything. And then, for example, for the survey management module, what we can do is prepare surveys within minutes. We could have, for example, a survey for like employee satisfaction. And one thing that we can do is create something like this. So we give it a title, we ask a few questions. These can be dichotomous questions. This can be, with checkboxes where we only are able to select one of the answers. We might be able to select all of the answers. We can have a drop-down menu here to select, the answer here. We could enter some comments. We could enter the date. And with this way of creating surveys within QDMS, then we can track the results. So the moment a user submits a survey, we're going to be getting information about it. We can do this anonymously, or we can even see who answered these questions and what were their answers. And then finally, regarding ISO, another module that's very common for our clients is the training planning. So for example, we can create a new training plan. We can see, for example, that we have one here for QDMS, and all the plannings can have, a revision request. We can send the information to all the participants. We can see the training, and we can see the items of that training. So just like with the audit, we can have a training plan for the whole year, and then we can start adding little pieces of training. Like, for example, this one, some of our employees have to learn about the survey module. So we created this, it was going to take a couple hours. We have right now just one participant. And what we can do is when the time comes, we can perform this training. We can add more participants. We can have a participation form, and we can even add quizzes at the end to make sure, that they learned what they were supposed to. And we can even maybe send out a survey to get feedback from them and to improve our training for the next training that we give. So basically, this is how QDMS works. We obviously have more functionality too. These are the basis. These are the basic modules for ISO compliance, and we're always improving QDMS. So we are getting feedback from our current customers, and we are always widening the scope of QDMS and adding more functionality over time. So now that this is over, we can have the Q&A session. We'll be reading all of your questions from the chat box, and we'll try and give answers to all of them.
Thank you, Itia. It's been very informative for us. Thank you. So let's see the question that we have. So
Do you want to take a look at it here?
let me see.
Take a look at it here. You can see it.
Okay, great. So another step. Okay, so let's start with one of the screen right, so I can see all the questions. Thank you, Itia. So, okay, so one of the questions, for instance, that we have is with any other digital system, what do you recommend for when the system goes down and you have no access to documentation? Well, it's actually, yeah, I mean, yes, it's actually a very good question in a way. The system may always go down, right? When we say system, could be hardware, could be internet access, so could be cloud that we are using. So that could really happen. It's actually a part of IT recovery plan that we all need to have in a way that you know, just to have some plan B in case for some reason we have no internet connection, or we have our hardware is down. So it depends on the size of the company. There are different ways to, of course, approach these in terms of IT recovery. Most of the companies, if they have some sort of recovery plan, they cannot access the system. So, but in terms of QDMS, what we can do is, of course, in terms of documentation, you can keep it on your computer as a plan B, which is not practical, which is not really the ideal way of doing it, but just as a plan B, having the documentation on your computers as a plan B may be an option, just to connect the documentation. Just keep in mind that QDMS can work on cloud, and also it can work on premise. So generally, you can access the system anywhere, but for some reason, for hardware reasons, or for internet reasons, or for other system reasons, if the system is down, maybe having the documentation on your computer may be an answer just to get by until you have some sort of connection or the hardware problem is resolved. Some of the companies, for instance, in terms of servers, for instance, they have recovery servers, they have backup servers, they back up regularly during the day. It's for usually medium or large size companies. Some companies, they just keep a copy of the documents in their computers in case for some reason they cannot access the system as a plan B. But of course, the idea is to keep the system running, having the good internet connection, having the good hardware that actually run QDMS on it, and you know, paying as efficient as possible. That's the main idea. I hope it can address your. And another question that we have is also, let's see, can the QDMS be integrated with the MRP system? Yes, I mean, in terms of material requirements planning, QDMS can be integrated to any MRP system. All we need is that MRP system needs to be .NET compatible, so that we can do the integration through web service APIs, which is a very common practice for us. We have been doing integrations with QDMS with various MRP systems, various ERP systems, and custom products. So it is something doable, and my answer is yes in this particular question. And what type of risk management tools are available on QDMS? Are there any? Yes, there are actually many. And QDMS is very flexible. Of course, risk management is an important part of ISO as far as we know. I mean, there is Ron here, he's the expert, but from my point of view, and what we have observed so far for many years of QDMS implementations, are various risk methods that's been actually used in companies. Could be for environment, could be for health, could be for hygiene. So any risk assessment and risk management that you like to manage, that is actually available in QDMS. We call it risk management module. It can be customized based on your need, depends on your industry, and we have it available in QDMS. And we'll be happy to show you a demo separately regarding these and other parts of the QDMS in a separate section. Absolutely, it'd be our pleasure. Let's see what else we have. Well, the good thing is actually a very good question. If let's say you have another document management system or CRM system, how would you use the QDMS complaint management module? Well, the good news is QDMS is actually designed based on modules. So complaint management module is one of them. Once you have the base module, the infrastructure of QDMS installed on your servers, the rest of the modules that you would like to have is actually up to you. So we do not really force or any certain package of QDMS to any of our clients or any of our partners. What happens is that you just need to get the base infrastructural system on your servers. You can either get complaint management to you, you can get survey management, that's also up to you, training or CAPA management. What I'm saying is that what kind of module that you like to go for on QDMS, it's really up to you. So if you do not have any complaint management system intact in your company, then you can use QDMS as an option, as a solution in your company, and you can link it with the CAPA, Corrective and Preventive Action module in the system. For some reason, if you have any CRM system available to handle customer complaints, then you do not have to have the QDMS. QDMS's customer complaint management module. I hope I was able to address your question well. Let's see, what else do we have? Can you give some examples of his ERP and clients achieve QDMS objectives? Okay, well, we have also some case studies that we can share with you after this session. QDMS has been actually implemented in many different organizations in very different sizes. And we'll be happy to share some use cases with you for this session. Just please feel free to send us an email. In terms of licensing, the licensing based on the number of the users for QDMS, and also based on the module that's actually being selected by the customer. So based on the number of users and number of the modules selected, we come up with the competitive pricing. That's how it is designed simply. Yes, absolutely. I mean, if any of our attendees would like to see any QDMS demo separately, we'll be happy to arrange it. If you would like to try out, navigate around the QDMS, we have a demo environment available for your use. Just feel free to shoot us an email. We can arrange schedule a session so you can actually connect to QDMS, just like ETR showed you earlier, so that you can try out, build the system, navigate around, and address your questions right there. So that's definitely doable. Do we have any other questions here? Okay, so it's I think looking good. Well, as addressing also questions in this webinar, I think we are coming to the end of this session. As you see on the screen, all of our presenters, we put our names, company information, our phone numbers, and email addresses available for you. So after this session is over, feel free to connect us. If you have any questions, if you have any demo, you can connect us. If you have any questions about ISO, how to go ISO, how to be more efficient with ISO, feel free to connect Ron Loveland. And from the QDMS point of view, how to comply ISO in a digital environment, feel free to shoot us an email. It can be me, it can be Roger, ETR, John. We are here to help you and support you. And after this session is done, since this session is being recorded, we'll be also sending you the recording for your later review and for your records as well. I would like to thank you for your attendance. We have had actually, it's a great attendees. great attendance that we have, many attendees that we are available. Thank you very much. We are very happy for this support and interest. And please follow our coming webinars as well. We have more webinars coming up again for ISO and for quality management and for maintenance management, as well as accounts payable automation. So we'll be happy to have you in our coming webinars as well. Thank you very much, and I wish you have a nice day.